Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. And guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show. Tonight is going to be a very, very important conversation for the times that we are living in and for the future of humanity in these last days that we are living, because there is a dystopian future ahead of us. And unlike Fallout, where you can pay for things with Nuka-Cola bottle caps, and all that good stuff, the future that we're looking at is something out of, it's out of that movie In Time, like I've said before, INTIME, Blade Runner, definitely, and something mashed in there with the Hunger Games. It's going to be, and the Terminator too, I guess you could throw in there. It is a lot of the science fiction films and stuff we've seen from the time we were kids. It is definitely a more of a reality now than I could have ever imagined. And so I'm going to have Brother Jeremiah on today and Brother Jake, and we're going to chop this up. If you haven't checked the guys out, it's Skiba News Nation. The link is in the video description below. And real quickly, guys, before I bring them on to get this conversation going, because it's going to be a lot of information shared tonight. I've got all sorts of news articles. We've got video. We've got Wikipedia stuff. Jake's got stuff to share. I think Jeremiah might have some stuff screen share too. We've got a big conversation ahead tonight. So with that said, guys, if you have been following over on Odyssey, just an FYI, I'm going to try to catch content up over there because YouTube has pretty much banned the cross-platform content copy to Odyssey now. So I'm going to try to catch that up, but just keep in mind to stay subscribed over on Odyssey, because we're going to try to definitely get that updated. And guys, if you haven't checked out the stream that I done not too long ago with the guys, we talked about MK Ultra, and that was a really good conversation. And tonight we're going to be talking about Project Stargate, the rise of AI, and the coming dystopian future that you are seeing unfolding before your eyes. And shalom to everybody. Much love to everybody in the comments. Guys, if you haven't seen on the regular videos I've been doing, for those that have supported, donated to the channel, made sure to add the shout out to everyone at the end of the videos, like I had promised everybody. And I appreciate all of you in supporting the channel. And like I said, make sure to go over and support the guys as well over on their content as well. So with that said, good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, man. Happy to be here.
Hey
guys.
Good to see you guys. So, are we just gonna rip the Band-Aid off the bullet hole tonight and just lay it all bare for everybody on this? Because I think a lot of people do not see the massive tornado coming this way. I guess the hurricane, I would say.
Yeah, I'm ready to dive in.
Yeah, right now what we're seeing is a lot of the foundation that needs to be set in order for AI to turn into Skynet, so to speak. And it's very deceptive how it's happening. It's coming under the guise of a conservative wave, a golden age of America. But is this the golden age that hoodwinks us all into selling our souls to Bigsby? So it's definitely something we need to look at and talk about. No matter what your opinion on Donald Trump or Elon Musk or any of that stuff is, the truth of the matter is the foundation that's being put in place during this administration could be used for evil at any time in the future. So the intentions behind what they're doing right now might be great. They might be fantastic. It might be the audit of the century that we've all been praying and hoping for to put us all back in track and get America great again, right? However, come 4 years from now, there could be another person in that Oval Office if it's not, some kind of, double whammy as it is. So that's definitely kind of the foundation for me into looking at this topic tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is like, it's, I keep finding this situation happening right now is that there's nothing new under the sun. And I went and backlogged on this, and I know we were talking about it just a little bit before we started the stream. And if it's good with you guys, I'm going to show this one screen share first, and then I'm going to give the floor to you guys, and then I'll kind of just inject my stuff that I've accumulated along the way, and just compare notes as we go through all this, because There's so like I literally sat down before we started this today and I went over my notes to make sure I hadn't missed anything because I've been trying to keep like a running log of this just since this has been announced. And it's just crazy how much it's compounding so fast. So with that said, real quick, let me screen share this right here. And everyone, anything that's shared tonight, I'll get with Jake and Jeremiah and make sure and get all the links for all this in the video description below after the stream, because I didn't put it in it beforehand because there was just so much I was trying to go through and pull the meat of the matter. But this is on Wikipedia if you want to go research this. Is the Stargate project what I would say the first rendition of this, because they're going to use AI moving forward to accomplish a lot of the means that this was originally this particular Army project was set up for. This new Stargate project can not only cover those bases but do even more. And it was a secret U.S. Army unit established all the way back in 1977. And it was under a bunch of different names, code names, and this went on until like 1991, until it was consolidated down to the Stargate project. But the reason for it involved remote viewing. Okay, so this is like, being a seer, or I think it's called astral projection. I think you guys correct me if I've misquoted any of this. I think that's the word, the other one. But anyway, it's the ability to psychically see events, sights, or information from a great distance. Now, keep in mind that AI has the very ability to do just these things that they were wanting to accomplish all the way back then. And it can do that now because it has its tentacles and everything, which is terrifying when you really think about it, because they can parlay this that they were trying to do long ago. They can do that now with the technology that is available and go far beyond. And it doesn't require, somebody being able to be a seer, psychokinetic, or anything like that. Like this is click and, point and click at this point. And like I said, the link to this will be in all the links, guys. I'll put in the video description below tonight for everybody. I'll leave that up for a second. What's your guys' thoughts on that? And then you guys, you can take over the helm from here. Like I said, I'll share some of my other stuff as we go.
I thought it was very interesting that you brought up this topic of Stargate project that happened before this new thing that was announced recently with the AI version of Project Stargate. So the association with this old kind of extrasensory perception concept of being able to scan and monitor the world is very, very interesting that they use the same name, because there's a reason they choose these titles, and there's a reason that they chose the modern title for the AI infrastructure in association with likely this project. So I was not aware, and so I'm glad you brought up this this 1977 Army unit that was established.
Well, I mean, what do you think with that, though? You think like the same genre of what they were trying to accomplish with that, like, that's just being pretty much can be snowballed and rolled into, what they're doing. Like they could essentially go back and be like, hey, we didn't get this done then, and with the CIA stuff that was involved with it too, but we can definitely accomplish our goals now,
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So whenever it comes to what they were doing, this reminds me of that whole, I don't know if you guys have seen the Men Who Stare at Goats movie, but it's this same principle of secret organizations that were trying to tap into extrasensory perspectives in order to spy on the enemy. And my personal opinion is that these people, there's likely ability of humankind to tap into, astral planes and demonic information sources and all that kind of stuff. But they didn't have the ancient know-how to understand how to control it. So if there was an ability for them through this Army unit, they failed miserably, likely. And if not scratching just the surface and realizing, okay, holy cow, we don't understand how any of this works, even though there's likely, tests and people that have shown up throughout the years that have these abilities that, some are hit or miss. But AI is the God that they've always been waiting for. It's allowing the numbers to be crunched, so to speak, and forgive the crude description, but it's a global tyrant's wet dream to have the capability that AI gives. And so for all the New World Order plans and the need to control and kind of box in every segment of human life to, create this efficient machine that can churn out whatever the New World Order agenda wants, they've needed AI this whole time. And so what we're seeing right now is the beautification of AI. It's to allure us. It's to get everybody to have ChatGPT and see the value of the unlimited wisdom of all of the internet's resources compacted into a app you can just ask questions to, and it can really help your day-to-day life. But whenever you think about the long-term manifestation of AI and what it can be used for, is what it's done. And for the person who's not familiar with what AI can do or why it would be so important for the New World Order to use, is simply this. It's the issue is there's a lack of man hours for an individual to crunch through the numbers of mankind to be able to, look at every single IRS tax return statement, right? There's only so many people, so many man hours. And what AI has unlocked is it has given this torch to mankind of concentrated effort with minimal effort, right? So that kind of came out a little jumbled, but basically the premise is the man hours aren't required anymore. And so now they don't need the 80,000 workforce IRS. They only need one computer, and it can do all of the same crunching and stuff like that to be able to be used to implement change in the world. And that change right now under Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency is being presented as good, positive auditing and changes to our government in the United States that we are all hoping for. And just like I said at the start, that same tool that can be used for good in a very short time of period can be flipped right back on top of us in a negative way. And so that's, I think, the significance of how it's tied to, the remote viewing. It's all about being able to spy, being able to gather information. Well, now they can gather that same information and they can compile it, they can crunch it, they can run the numbers, and in an instant have an answer. And that wasn't possible before.
Yeah, that's facts. And you've got to have this to run the beast system. It absolutely has to be. Jeremiah, you want to commentate on that or anything before share anything else?
I mean, I've always said that AI, I mean, it's gotten, like, if you think about it, it started kind of simple and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, it's teaching itself to do all these things. But right when it first started, I remember telling Jake, I said, they're going to start framing people for crimes. People are going to start looking to AI as if it's God because it has all the answers. So instead of, asking the Most High for things, they're just going to ask ChatGPT, which is completely wrong. And it's, it's not the right thing to do. I mean, that's just blasphemy.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing in my entire lifetime that I've ever seen, guys. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, and I think we talked about this before whenever Ian's had me over as a guest on your show that one night. We were talking about that, and it was like, I think I said the statement to you, and so I don't want to misquote myself, and you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I said if I could delete one thing off the end days, it wouldn't be the 7 trumpets. It wouldn't be, all these things. It would be AI. I think that's the one thing I said I would delete off the menu because it's such a wild card. I don't even know how to deal with it. And I highlighted that there for you, Jake, the men who stare at goats. That was mentioned. Reference to that too, in that article on Wikipedia. That read, it's a really long read for people who want to read it, but there's a lot of reference material in there for those that want to look into that. So real quickly, let me pull this up so that we can discuss this real quick. And then I think it'd probably be good. Jake, if you want to share your video next, I think that'd probably go hand in hand with this. But for people that want to check this out, okay, on OpenAI, all right, there's all the good stuff here, links to it, Chat GPT, the whole works, okay? And this project, if you want to get like a full rundown about the Stargate project, the company, the intended investments, the power players in it, the whole works, and the foundation, a deeper rundown of what we're discussing tonight, you can read into this. This is the core of the matter right here. This is the power players and people that's involved in this. You can go to this website link that I'm putting in the video description below, and you can see all the individuals that's going to be responsible for the creation of this monster and is already in the process of creating this monster. And one thing I'd say to this too is that this we're creating just here domestic doesn't even count, with what's going on in China and what's going on in other developed countries that they're trying to create AI. My thought process is what happens when all these AIs decide that they don't want to work for their master anymore and they all want to join together and become one mind, and turn against its creator. That's a whole nother thought process that, I don't think people have thought about, because in America alone, we're trying to create this monster, but there's other countries that is heavily pouring into the creation of AI. And let me pull this off the screen for a second if you want to put your video up there, Jake.
Yeah. So what we have right now currently is not AI general intelligence. It's still compartmentalized. It's still a kind of a shadow of what's coming. And in fact, the recent head of OpenAI came out and alleviated fears that general intelligence had been achieved already, and said that this is clearly off in the future in some time, because people were already spreading rumors that AI general intelligence had been achieved. And the difference between AI general intelligence and kind of Chat GPT and these, tools and resources that can be used is there's a big difference. So you have one that in some form is more likened to a trained chat bot thing that we've plugged in information, and it is analyzed that information and then now knows how to give accurate answers based on the training that it's gone through. The difference between that, which is what we have now, and AI general intelligence is AI general intelligence would be able to think for itself, would be able to access the internet and download itself into all types of ways to preserve it from being deleted. And, AI general intelligence is the alien god that Elon Musk has talked about. And according to OpenAI, they are not there yet. And so that's important to kind of address where we're headed versus where we're at right now. And with that said, like you literally were using AI to get an answer about AI, which in a way shows that there is some use right now for AI for positive things. The image generation, video generation, and information that you can, use ChatGPT for is amazing. Like the production ability that you unlock when you tap into AI turns you into somebody that can take, a month for a single project, can then transform your productivity to, 10 degrees, right? It's an extremely powerful thing that I think, people can use right now for good things. But let's look at the press conference that Donald Trump had after his swearing in, where he introduced the introduction of the American infrastructure for AI. And because I hate being vague, and I know sometimes it's easy to just fall into the fear-mongering mindset of, oh, it's bad, it's bad. It's important, I think, to address specifically what is coming in the near future. And we can kind of address the different areas that AI is going to affect kind of with what they've been talking about wanting to accomplish in the very near future. So let's go ahead and check out this this video, and the leaders of the AI American infrastructure will tell you from their mouth what they want to do, and then we're going to kind of discuss some of those things and how we need to be paying attention.
Jake, you load. Oh, I see it here. I'm sorry.
It's my honor to welcome three of the world's leading technology CEOs, and in the case of Larry Ellison,
if you guys have any comments, pause it.
He's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man and an amazing business person. But to announce the largest AI infrastructure project by far in history, and it's all taking place right here in America. As you know, there's great competition for AI and other things, and they're coming in at the highest level. We're joined by Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO, my friend Masa Yoshi-san, and CEO of OpenAI, and I would say the by far the leading expert based on everything I read, Sam Altman. So that's great that you're coming in together. That's a massive group of talent and money. Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly.
Okay, so just a quick pause there. $500 billion. Now, this was announced just a few days before a traumatic thing happened to the AI market, which was the announcement of DeepSeek, which is a Chinese AI company that was able to accomplish with just a few $1 million what companies like NVIDIA and these other major tech companies were spending billions on. And so what did that cause? What does that reveal? Well, one, it caused the largest stock crash in history. NVIDIA dropped from they lost billions of dollars in like a single day. Did you guys see that massive stock drop? So
no, I didn't see that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so that happened directly correlated to the announcement of DeepSeek, which is an AI startup in China that was able to accomplish with just a few $1 million what NVIDIA was spending billions on. And so what that revealed was that with less money and the right, invention, AI could be advanced. And so if that same advancement of technology that DeepSeek revealed they were able to do is then has billions of dollars thrown at it, that's where we see the very exponential growth of AI technology in literally a few weeks' time. Since this conference, this has happened. And so the reason I'm trying to pause and have you guys pay attention to the numbers here is billions of dollars when he announced it back then wasn't going to accomplish that much. It was like, okay, America's going to catch up to the rest of the world. We're going to finally get some AI infrastructure, right? But now that DeepSeek and their methodology for creating AI intelligence is being released, they're all going to be, spying on each other and advancing their particular iterations of AI based on the advancements of other AI companies across the world. So now the billions of dollars that wouldn't have gotten us very far, which was announced here at this press conference, will now get us extremely far, because now they can do it way cheaper. It's way cheaper to make AI superintelligence now. So I had to point that out to you guys and talk about the correlation between DeepSeek and the money game of how expensive it is to do AI. So let's go ahead and keep watching here.
Creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be A new president, I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor and others are competitors. We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. So they have to produce a lot of electricity, and we'll make it possible for them to get that production done very easily at their own plants if they want, where they'll build at the plant, the AI plant, they'll build energy generation, and that will be incredible. But it's technology and artificial intelligence, all made in the USA. Beginning immediately, Stargate will be building the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI, and this will include the construction of colossal data centers, very, very massive structures. I was in the real estate business. These buildings, these are big, beautiful buildings. They're going to employ a lot of people. And physical campuses and locations currently being scouted nationwide. They're making their choices of locations. I think they have their choice. I'd like to ask Larry, Sam, and Masa to say a few words and just talk about a little bit about what they're doing. And if you have any questions, and then we'll go into a couple of other subjects also. But this is, to me, a very big thing, $500 billion Stargate project. I think it's going to be something that's very special. It'll lead to something that could be the biggest of all. So, Larry, maybe we'll start with you and we'll go down the line. Thank you.
Just real quick, I wanted to pause it and ask you, because of your experience with Bitcoin and even making your own miners, do you believe that the rise of the age of crypto and the homegrown mining fad and just the aspect of mining crypto in general was a necessary part to lay a foundation to prepare the way for AI, because the computing power needed to mine crypto and the GPUs necessary to crunch those numbers to solve increasingly more difficult series of codes to get that Bitcoin reward, right? Because we had that before AI, it allowed the infrastructure that would be necessary to run AI to already be here among us. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can see where it could definitely, and that's been a concern to me. Actually only concern with doing, crypto mining is because to me, it's always been a parallel economy, to use outside of the fiat system and outside of, the control mechanisms that's in place already. But the problem is doing that, it has an expiration date, because you look at where things are headed, especially with all these executive orders and things like that to support American-based cryptos and et cetera. It's going to eventually turn into a control mechanism itself. And a lot of the technology that, the layering and the scaling and all the stuff that's went into the computing power, and especially, I think it was NVIDIA. I want to say it was NVIDIA that's even put the control mechanisms in their equipment to slow down if it's used for crypto mining instead of actual computing. And that was to deter people from using so many of them, graphics cards and et cetera, because it was destroying the computer market in general, because they were losing so much of it to just the industrialized and commercialized crypto. But yeah, I mean, long and short of it, Jake, I think absolutely crypto mining has fundamentally been a mechanism to help create that environment.
Yeah, it's almost as if the brain of the AI couldn't exist unless we built the neuron network, the worldwide computing power that's necessary to contain the spirit of an alien god, right? And so all of the fad and the desire for people to mine crypto caused them to really make quick advancements in the mining game with GPU power. Like in just a few years, the computing ability skyrocketed. I mean, you know, just in just a few years, we're jumping from like the 3090 back, you know, a few years ago. Now we're at the 5090s coming out, and it's 10 times more powerful than the other one, you know. So, oh man, I see it as we built the neural network that was necessary. And, you know, anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and hear from the heads of AI what their plans are for the future.
Thank you, Mr. President. We certainly couldn't do this without you. It would simply be impossible. AI holds incredible promise for all of us, for every American. We've actually been working with OpenAI for a while and with Masa for a while. The data centers are actually under construction. The first of them are under construction in Texas. Each building's 500,000 square feet. There are 10 buildings currently being built, but that will expand to 20 and other locations beyond the Abilene location, which is our first location. The kind of applications that we're building, to give you an idea, maybe the most charismatic and the one that I think touches us all is electronic health records, not just maintaining electronic health records, but by looking at electronic health records, understanding the condition of doctors, better understanding the condition of their patients, and being able to provide healthcare plans that are much better than they otherwise would be. A doctor in Indian River Reservation would be able to see how a doctor at Memorial Sloan Kettering would treat the patient, or a doctor at Stanford would treat the patient. We actually provide all of that information, all of that guidance to the doctors who are treating cancer patients or patients with any other kind of disease, made possible by AI. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm going to pass it to Masa, but this is a very exciting program for Oracle to be a part of. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start with this topic. AI being used to crunch the genetic code of mankind. And you know, what crackpot science are we getting into, guys? I mean, it makes sense, because if you look at DNA sequencing and how long it takes them to sequence things before AI, it took them a long time to get through like the patterns within our genetic code in order to kind of understand how it works. And now that we have AI, each and every one of us could be pegged to a genetic marker, right? And the designer drugs that allure us, we already see how big pharma and the medical industry is absolutely corrupt. They want to create lifelong patients. They want to do this and that. Well, we saw the age of medical kind of treatments that kept lifelong patients. But what I think is coming with AI in the introduction of medical AI fields is that we're going to move past this kind of deceptive, you're being poisoned by your doctor because he wants you to keep coming back and paying him to make you feel better. We're going to move past that because we see the sway of the conservative kind of woke. We're aware of the deception of Fauci. We're aware that the corrupt medical system and pharmaceutical agencies have this ulterior motive, right? So let's go ahead and audit them and make sure we all get better and we all get healed by the power of AI. And so medicine is going to shift from this treatment-based kind of medical kind of practice where you're just keeping them patients and keep giving them the pill. And it's going to transform into the transformative medicine of the future, which is now what perks can you get? What extra abilities or what lifelong diseases have your bloodline always dealt with that we can remove from your family line forever? Come on in and we'll just do a little blood test and have Bigsby run a analysis of your DNA, and then we're going to improve you. And so you see the transition right now in the way that publicly medical things are being talked about, like the exposing of Fauci and all the slush funds of gain of function stuff, we see that that's all kind of, people are becoming smart to it, right? Well, how do they lure you back in? How do you fall back into the trap? With a gift, right? It's the open hand with the little, carrot in the middle, or the, the little thing, and then boom, as soon as you reach for it, yeah, they get you. And so, that's my thoughts. What do you? I mean, this is stuff that your dad talked about, Jeremiah, with the corruption of genetic codes, the days of Noah, and not only that, but it's tied to tracing each and every individual, and kind of keeping them on like a short list of who is who, what they're like, what their genetic code's like. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, do you, Luke, do you remember when you came on our show and we asked the ChatGPT who we were? Like, I just did an experiment and it knew so much about us, and it legit like blew my mind. And then I tried something else right after I got married. It was like maybe a month after. I asked it, who is Lindsay Skiba? And it could tell you everything about her. So what does that mean? And like for our for the social credit score, like it's just all kind of it's all like connected and weird, and it's starting to get creepier, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, 100. And you know what's crazy, guys? I would have bet the farm a minute ago if you asked me. I didn't see this news conference, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I hadn't seen this yet. So this is a first run through for me. But I'll tell you what, if you would have asked me earlier to bet the farm on what the first thing they would have endeavored to do with AI, I would have told you straight up it was medical. Because the next thing they're wanting to use this for, look, I look at this like a farmer, okay? The best cows we always wanted to keep on the farm, and then cull that out and then go and keep genetics as good as possible, right? On like a micro scale. And what they're doing right now is they're going to itemize every one of us, catalog us, our DNA sequencing, our social credit score, our spending habits. I'll tell you something interesting. And now I just seen this recently, is that for people that participate in adult activities online, if y'all follow what I'm saying, right? Profane acts. Tennessee is starting to log people's driver's license if you go to said websites. So they're keeping a log of your nefarious activities. They're keeping a log of people's spending now. They're going to start logging our medical records. I mean, like, this is sketchy stuff. I mean, like, to me, it's such an invasion of privacy. Like, it is none of my business what y'all's medical records are. Like, but like, this is like a, what was it? Was it that James Bond movie, the newest one, or one of the newest ones they made, Spectre, where they, C was in charge of Nine Eyes, where that, you could look at the intelligence from all these other countries with a click of a mouse. And it's like, where is the sovereign line drawn there of this state? Where is the citizen sovereignty, that somebody in Britain can look at somebody's records in South Africa? Like, where does, everything's blurred at this point. There's like, I don't know, we've got an enemy coming now that, like, the lines are so far blurred, it's crazy. And then when you showed me that, you sent me that log of everything it knew about us. I'm like, we're at the beginning stages of this, and it knew that much. Like, what is that going to look like half a decade down the road, or by 2030? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, well, my wife is a teacher. Like, she's not on social media. She's not on, she doesn't do what we do, but it instantly knew stuff about her. And I just, that one I was really freaked out about when I saw that it came up with like awards she's won as a teacher and all kinds of stuff. It's just how do they know that information, and why are they using it where anybody could ask it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
well,
Jake, sorry not to interrupt you, just real quick. When you do get done with this, I've got something I want to share with you that ties right into this next. But it's crazy that the date stamps. I think the most important thing that people have not paid attention to, and I just want to remind everybody in this, especially while Jake's going through this right now, they have been talking about this for, they've said in 2015, it was really hot and heavy. They started talking about this in 2015, that by 2025, AI, robotics, all this stuff would be online. It would be the thing. And, we've seen Tesla bots. We see AI being data centers built. Like, we're in 2025, folks. We're at the very front end of 2025. And they gave you a memo in news articles that I've shared and multiple live streams, I believe now, is that they've been talking about this for 10 years, that this was going to be the year that they knocked this off. And we're here, and we're at the very beginning of it all this. Sorry, Jake. That's all I wanted to share on that.
I just want to say it is so funny to see the script flipped, where the liberal, raving, mad Chuck Schumer types are literally calling for millions to march on the Capitol building, basically putting their foot in their mouth with all the January 6th nonsense, right? Because it's almost as if they're seeing the implementation of this Project 2025 things, and they're seeing that, oh, wow, this is bad stuff that can be used to control us. And so it's so funny to see the flip of the script from that perspective. And the last thing on the medical thing is, you're right. The first thing that they mention generally means the most important thing, right? So why is it this guy started off the announcement of the use of AI infrastructure? Well, it's because you're right. That seems to be the biggest, most personally affecting aspect of AI in the coming future. But here's some other things that they're about to announce. So let's check out these last two gentlemen that talk about the startup of AI infrastructure here in the U.S.
Oh, thank you. That really helped. That's good. That's great. I feel tall now. Thank you. Well, Mr. President, last month I came to celebrate your winning and promised that we will invest $100 billion. And you told me, oh, Masa, go for 200. Yeah. Now I came back with 500. Because this is as you said yesterday, this is the beginning of golden age of America. This is one great example, I think, right? We wouldn't have decided to do this. I think so. This is the beginning of golden age. We wouldn't have decided unless you won. And yesterday we agreed, we signed to make this happen because of this day. So we would make this happen. We would immediately start deploying $100 billion with a goal of making $500 billion within next 4 years, within your term, right? Because of your success. So we are very, very excited to do this. And our partner is, of course, SoftBank, OpenAI, Oracle, and additionally investing partner with MGX. On top of that, we have the technology partner, NVIDIA, and of course, Microsoft has been very, very supportive to Sam and continue to support all our success. This is not just for business. As Larry said, this will help people's life. This will help solving many, many issues, difficult things that otherwise we could not have solved with the power of AI. I think AGI is coming very, very soon. And after that, that's not.
So you heard what he said there. He said AGI is coming very, very soon. And for if you're not familiar with the acronyms and what they're saying, you got to have this pointed out, because this is what we're moving towards. It's our AI, general intelligence, AGI. And not only that, you heard him say, oh, AI will be used to solve many very difficult problems, perhaps problems like a swamp that needs to be drained, like a government with corrupt politicians that have slush funds, like what is it called? USA.
USA. Yeah.
Yeah, and all it takes is a couple, 20-year-old nerds, an AI supercomputer, and Elon Musk at the helm of the Department of Government Efficiency to implement AI in a way that really, really makes some difference. So that, you can see the buildup here, guys, of why we're leading into this use of AI for positive things, which is great. I think it's fantastic what Elon Musk is exposing. Don't get me wrong. Like I think it's really cool that finally the corruption of the United States government has light shed on it. You even saw this morning or yesterday, it might have been, that Elon even mentioned implementing blockchain technology in the U.S. budget so that every single dollar can be tracked. And the only way all of this stuff is being uncovered is likely because, as a AI connoisseur, Mr. Musk is, right? He is obviously plugging the numbers of the US government into AI as we speak, and AI is spitting out these solutions. And that's how they're moving so quickly, guys. You got to understand the reason that they're able to make these sweeping changes, and Trump knows exactly what executive order to write into law so that they can, put their stamp and legacy on the American government, is because AI is likely giving them these answers. And so that's just one of the areas that this guy was alluding to that AI is being used for, in my opinion. And let's hear some other things that he says.
The goal. After that, artificial super intelligence will come to solve the issues that mankind would never ever have thought that we could solve. Well, this is the beginning of our golden age. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Fantastic.
Sam.
I don't have too much to add, but I did want to say I'm thrilled we get to do this in the United States of America. I think this will be the most important project of this era. And as Masa said, for AGI to get built here, to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, to create a new industry centered here, we wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President. And I'm thrilled that we get to. I think it'll be an exciting project. I think we'll be able to do all of the wonderful things that these guys talked about. But the fact that we get to do this in the United States is, I think, wonderful. So thank you very much.
Could you just say one word? I hear so many positive things about what it's going to do for medical research and for solving things.
He brings it back up.
Problems. How will AI help us with the fight against the various problems, diseases, etc.?
These guys can maybe share more about some of the work they're doing there. I think they'll jointly be some of the leaders about driving progress here. But I believe that as this technology progresses, we will see diseases get cured at an unprecedented rate. We will be amazed at how quickly we're curing this cancer and that one and heart disease, and what this will do for the ability to deliver very high quality healthcare, the costs, but really to cure the diseases at a rapid rate, I think will be among the most important things.
Could you say the rate will be warp speed rate?
This technology does.
Okay, great. Very good. Thank you.
All right, that's all for the video.
Man, hey, I want to say a quick shout out to one old guy's opinion. Thanks for the donation. And they said man-made artificial intelligence will save the world, ? They believe they are a God to make a man-made digital idol. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. It's absolutely crazy. Jake, I'm really glad you shared that because I have not seen that yet. Like I said, this is my first time through on that. And, it's interesting to me. I try to really pay attention when people talk anymore. I always try to be respectful when people's talking and present, but I really try to pay attention when like people of status and the higher echelons always speak, because it seems to me anymore that they make sure to re-emphasize their priorities. Like, Trump tapped that twice about the medical thing. It's obvious to me the direction they're headed. And my subscribers, shout out to you all that checked me on this the other day when I was setting. I don't know if y'all seen my YouTube video I posted the other day about this, and it's touching on this right now that I'm gonna screen share. Let everybody look at this while I screen share this to you guys, and I'm really, really curious your all's opinion on this. This was now this is the article from the EDU website that was published in 2021. The other day when I was setting and I was building tiny homes and I took a break at the factory, I swear I was scrolling Facebook, you know how you doom scroll sometimes, and I seen the ad, you know, in depth about this, but I can't get back to what I had. But I at least got this article, which was the premise of it already back in 2021, which to me, I think it's for the better that I can't find the current info, because the fact that this is date stamped that far back and reflects the current and present, I think is even more valuable. So just real quickly, it's I'm not going to read through the whole article, but for everybody who wants to read it later after the stream, you can go to the link in the video description below. I'll make sure to post it up. But this was you know, whenever Australia was going through their whole thing, I would say the Orwellian society that they set up during said thing. Oh, and just FYI, guys, I didn't prompt you on this ahead of time. So on the channel anymore, instead of talking about you know what, I just tell everybody that said thing that went on between 2019 and 2024, we call it the said thing on here. So just so I haven't gotten in trouble or had my content pulled in 2 months, so I think this is working. so anyway, for everybody that's watching on the stream, you know, if you live between 2019 and 2024, we're talking about the said thing. So anyway, they talk about that, you know, the visual digital face scan of you can and this is a great video too, by the way. I've not gotten all the way through it yet, but it was really good. That they shared in the article, but this travel access and your travel passes and your One ID solution that they're trying to come forward with, that they were working on to it so that the people that participated in said thing can easily be scanned and verified as opposition to those of us who chose not to participate in said thing. And it will be an easier AI biometric to determine who is who. Right here, what is it? Right? Oh yeah, it's right here below this section right here. So I just want to read this just a little subset right here. It says here that moreover, biometric data can provide detailed information about people that goes far beyond simply identifying them. And please keep in mind, everyone watching, this was in 2021 that they were sharing this data. Is said because biometric sensors by definition rely on data about bodies, they can be used to determine information about people's state of health. And of course, that was mentioned first. For example, some researchers claim to be able to determine information about people's moods, intentions, and state of mind from biometric data. This is a lot of information to give away in exchange for a carton of milk, and it lends itself to a host of possible abuses. And I 100% agree. But the interesting thing is they were working on this biotech a long time ago, and in the midst of the first round one, which we know they're going to do a 2.0 at some point very soon. And I've got a video for that in a minute to get y'all's opinion. But I just want to get some feedback from y'all on this. Do you not see these data centers that's being set up, this kind of creature coming out of that eventually? Because this was what Australia was kind of working toward the first round through. And it was so that they could delineate the people that was compliant and the people that wasn't compliant. And they could do it just by facial recognition alone, which is really freaking creepy. Because, like, you know, they essentially could do it with or without your consent, which was another thing. They could just pull it from, you know, visually seeing you walking on the street. And like I said, I encourage everybody to read the article and really absorb it. But like, just curious, you guys' thoughts on that right there.
Oh man, yeah. Just when you look at how Europe and Australia are usually 10 steps ahead of what they want to eventually implement here, you're totally right. Like the model of government subservience that we saw implemented when it came to the protocols in 2020 in Australia, imagine what they could have accomplished if they had AI backing that command of mankind, right? I mean, there were some loopholes. I mean, not everybody had to do exactly, what the mandates were saying. Especially here in America, there's many people that never even donned a mask, right? But once they have AI at the helm enforcing it, using your very phone to, check in, like, hey, the time has come for you to do your face scan to make sure you have this thing on, right? That's when the coiling boa constrictor of the New World Order tightens its grip back up, right? Because that was what the experiment was in 2020 and 2021, is it was to see how much of mankind would bow to the god of this world, to the men in white lab coats, to the idealized, health and wellness that apparently the WHO has decided we all must agree to. And that's why we can't say that the naughty word, right? There's a reason that you can't say this on YouTube anymore, because the WHO had so infiltrated all of media and had become this superior authority to any authority that us as we the people put in charge above us, right? And that's why I thought it was interesting. You see comments like Donald Trump saying we're going to withdraw from the WHO. We're going to, all these things are like things you want to hear as a conspiracy theorist. Like, hoorah! Finally, they want to end the Department of Education. Yes, they've been indoctrinating us for years. Yes, we're getting out of the Paris climate agendas. Yes, but man, it's with one hand they're shaking your hand and telling you, hey buddy, we got all this good stuff planned, and then in the other, it's a cloak and dagger game, and that's what I think is related to what we saw in Australia, and why AI is such a powerful tool for the next iteration of the medical tyranny state, because then they can actually make sure you have to obey because they're going to be watching. You can't hide anymore, right?
Yeah, 100. Jeremiah, you want to put any input on that I shared?
I mean, they can also use AI to like pretend to be other things. Like they can make videos, they can make photos, they can just propagandize you, kind of like MK Ultra, So AI coming at you from all directions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the deep fake thing, I know you guys, touched on that before when we talked about the deep fake thing. Just scares the living daylights out of me. And I mean, you all really made me think about that on a deeper level too. I mean, there's so many, there's so many layers to this, which goes in, like we were talking about blockchain, the layering and the scaling. Like right now they're in the scaling and layering portion of AI. Like they're figuring this thing out. And just a real quick shout out. Why doesn't anyone talk about the Bilderberg meetings anymore? That's a real good point, old guy's opinion. The World Economic Forum, a lot of conversations about that, but the Bilderberg stuff, is definitely not a conversation about that. And I mentioned this the other day as the sad thing. I really appreciate everybody keeping it real in here, that we finally got it ironed down to like a word that is not getting nobody in trouble or content pulled. I cannot tell you all how much I love you guys and appreciate you subscribers. But yeah, the whole thing with the fluorescent lights and stuff. Listen, folks, I work as an electrician. That is my trade. That is my industry. These purple lights are a freak show. Like they just don't even function. When I drove through Florida and seen them swapped out, was when it really clicked for me. Like the lighting is terrible. It's absolutely atrocious. Like it's not even, to me as a commuter, it don't even help somebody on the road with their commute. Let alone walking down the side of the road. But the apparently the glow that's put off of that, apparently it has some effect to visualize who had it and who hasn't. And so, I mean, just more to play into a dystopian element, of course. But yeah, people saying that Apparently, there's been reports of that it shows a different visual on your body, and I haven't seen that. Have you guys seen that yet? I've heard this multiple times, but I've not physically seen that manifested where that people glow. Have you?
I'm not. I mean, it's news to me. I have to look into it because it's really interesting.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I don't want to commentate to something that I haven't seen. I'm not saying people's lying, but man, I've heard so many people make that point that that's what the new lighting is about in cities and stuff. But just a note on something is, you were talking about people taking part in it the first time through. I made a video about it recently because I about fell off my chair. Is the number average across the world? Now we're talking about world numbers at this point. 72% they say participated in round one. 72%, bro. That is
of the world.
That's of the world as a collective in the world. That is insane numbers. Now, I'm going to back off and say, let's just say 50% participated, right? Like I'm going to just say they fudged the numbers heavy. Like when it's broke there, if you bring up that video, and if somebody will remind me, if one of you guys will text me or remind me, I'll put a link in with all the links that's going to go in this video description later. But I put the link to the statistics office, and they had it broke down by country, by state. It was nuts. I mean, like just Tennessee alone, like I was blown away in a red state where I live, where most people's very libertarian like myself, or very, would ascribe to be Republican. Like it was massive, the numbers that people that took it here. I was blown away. And it breaks it down by like male and female too. Scarlet Pain, please send that to 7, the number 7, and then trumpetsprepper@gmail.com. Please send that to me. I would like to view that absolutely. And somebody saying it's up to 40 or 80%, but I mean, it was massive numbers that was reported across the world. And like I said, it's world stats. It's not just isolated to individual countries. It's the whole collective. You can break it down.
Oh man, those numbers are shocking. To me, when I hear numbers like that, I think real time, a separation of mankind happening. And it's through a cycle of different tests. We're all being tested consistently. And you're seeing in 2020, there was a separation of mankind, those who received and those who didn't. And now we have another test, which is those who fall in love with the current agendas that blind themselves to other things. Perhaps it's more tests coming that we need to be wary of, such as, hey, whenever they offer to cure your family's lifelong disease or a cure to cancer, are you going to trust the system that in the past we were being tested by the same system? And that's a lot of numbers of people, and it just makes me very concerned about what tests are coming, because that was a tricky test. I mean, it's so hard to get through that one. I understand why so many fell for it. You had your job on the line. You were being fear-mongered. You were being, white knighted? So, like, people were feeling like if they did it, they were somehow courageous and saviors of others. So there's so many elements to that deception that, was so hard to get through. And so for people watching this that might have taken it, I sympathize with you. And I think the tests are going to get harder and harder, guys. I think AI is part of this next test. And I think mankind perhaps is going to be split in more ways than just who took and who didn't. Eventually, it's going to boil down to a very important test. And that test is going to be who receives the mark of the beast and worships his image, or receives the name or the number of his name. And what you see, perhaps this is a great time to read that passage in, I believe it's Thessalonians. Are you familiar with that, Lucas?
Yeah, you're talking about those that receive not the love of the truth were sent strong delusion.
Would you read that for us? I don't have a Bible pulled up, but
I got you right here, bro. Yeah, give me just a second. Give me just a second, brother. I'm sorry. I'll get you right here. Yep. All right. So it's Second Thessalonians verse 7 through 12. It says, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way." And then let me see here, right here. Yeah, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Yahuwah shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Elohim shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure. Like they enjoyed this, folks, that pleasure in unrighteousness. That's savage. I mean, I've read that I don't know how many times, and I'm like, dang, and I mean, like, I guess where I don't get with it, and now I'm really curious Jeremiah's thoughts on this too, at this one point alone, because if your dad was here, I would grill him on this tonight, because I really, really would love his input. Is so many people are caught up in preterism right now, like they say, we're living in Satan's little season. But just based on the flat earth truth alone right now, and the firmament has not been ripped open like a scroll. The third stars ain't fell out of the heavens. Like, we can just keep going on all these evidences, right? But what I can't figure out is I would love to be in Satan's little season, because I'm just not going to go up and try to attack the camp of the saints at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have complete faith in Messiah. I'm going to keep the commands. I'm not going to assault the kingdom. Let's get this show on the road. But that ain't that easy. We got the 7 trumpets coming. The river Euphrates is drying. We got the beast system. We got AI. We got all this crazy stuff. What I can't figure out is how people come to the truth of the flat earth. They come to the truth of, wow, we are living in the last days, but they skip all the way on to, sorry, I knocked my light off. I got so excited there, is that they get right on over to Satan's little season. I'm really curious what, especially Jeremiah, thinks on that. And I'm really curious what you think your dad would have thought on that, because I think if he would have been in this iron moment, he would have really hammered this right now, because it's becoming a huge movement, and I still can't get with the program. I mean, I got a book on my desk right now that I'm plowing down, because, like, I mean, there's whole publications about this now, and I mean, it's blowing my mind. Sorry, not to go squirrel on that. It's really interesting with the AI too. It's so obvious that we're still in the last days. Like, we've got miles to go yet,
Right. So what was the question? Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So, like, with the knowledge that, like, we're discussing right now with AI, and with so much knowledge that the flat earth truth is here, and that the firmament dome above us is still intact. It hasn't been rolled back like a scroll, and third of the stars is still up there. Like, how in the world is these people getting off on thinking that we're in Satan's little season already? It's like they've hit the fast forward button in the middle of tribulation times,
Yeah, I have no idea. I feel like Jake would be better at that. I'm still learning my dad's content and so much about him. But
oh man, yeah, like we talked about, your dad would be stoked about all of these like things that are popping off so quickly. Man, it would have been so cool to see him.
AI would have blown his mind for sure, but he would have been very cautious of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think kind of what Lucas is getting at is, with all of these different theologies that make people think there is no mark of the beast to worry about, there is no great deception. It's like a soft pat on the back of, oh, don't worry, it already happened. And it's not to, I'm not trying to be, unfeeling towards people like that, because I have friends that think that way. But I mean, your dad was so good at pointing out these things were coming. And I think that's kind of what Lucas is getting at, is like, what do you think he would be saying when he found out about like AI or like, I mean, he called the V topic in 2012 on the Bible Prophecy Club. So it just,
I mean, I think he would have had a lot to say about it. I've seen people leave comments on Facebook like, "Oh, what do you think he would say? What do you think he would say?" But I think he would be making Star Wars like edits or something. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, he had that way of just using media to kind of accentuate his point. Oh man, we can only imagine how it would be. But yeah, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, for sure, with the preterism topic and how it's kind of lulled people into a sense of security when we need to have our heads on a swivel.
Yeah, because I mean, right now, don't get me wrong. From a prepper standpoint, I would be thrilled to know we're that far in, because I'm not needing to worry about a third of the stars falling out of the sky and burning my house down like the Palisades or in Maui. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all know that's a DEW that done all that. And I know this, my new house we building, it's getting a blue roof. like there's this meme. It says, how much of a conspiracy theorist are you? Luke's going to be on that roof with a roller. If they don't put me a blue roof on the new house, I am getting up there with a blue roller. So we're going to get that done. But anyway,
I heard they're selling it on Temu. Have you heard that?
No.
They're selling these peel-on ones. It's kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, dude, we are living in some crazy times, guys. Oh, it just, anyway. Well, let me share this real quick, and let me see what you think about everybody's favorite. What is that? What is the name for that philanthropist? Is that right? Did I get that right? Philanthropist, Mr. Bill Gates. Fair use on this. Love Dabu 7's content. So I don't know why it says 7-7. I thought it always was Dabu 7. For the longest time. He must have changed it to 7-7. But anyway,
I thought he was Australian for whatever reason.
I got you. But yeah, shout out to Dabu on this. I'm only going to play the first part. He if you want to go back and watch this, links in the video description below for everybody, his commentary on it following. But I just want you to hear what Bill Gates says on this.
Spent the most sleepless nights worrying about pandemics. After COVID, has that changed? And if it has, what keeps you up now? Because we all need to know.
Yeah, the pandemic sadly was fairly predictable, and it won't be the last pandemic. The next one could be far more severe. I mean, this one.
Oh, make no mistake, folks. It's coming, and it will be severe.
It killed millions. It was awful. We got the vaccine. Actually, President Trump's leadership was a factor in getting that out quickly. And so when I spoke to him, I said, okay, here's some other medical innovations, including a thing called an HIV cure that could be accelerated. So, we should be more prepared, both for a pandemic. I'd say that's still number one. You can worry about nuclear war. You can worry about AI.
This sounds like
plenty to worry about.
Plenty to worry about with AI. I swear, man. It's like they've got a script in front of them on this stuff.
I'm an optimist.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's up to the government to think ahead on behalf of the citizens.
Yes.
So, pandemic, there's a lot that we should be doing that hopefully we'll get our act together before the next one comes. Overall, the innovation in health, both in the developing countries, the rich world, I love being part of that.
I was reading, though, that you said the next pandemic you are predicting within maybe 25 years. Is that
certainly
accurate?
we'll have one in the next 25 years. There's even some pathogens out there that we're watching over right now. So maybe 10% chance in the next year.
Pathogens we're watching. I mean, making.
Oh, yeah. And did y'all catch that in the next 4 years? That's 2029, right before the 2030, the New World Order utopia, the final purge. They want to get said thing 2.0 rolling. And man, it's just, and then I love how he has a stopgap laugh there about AI, because he knows it's something to be feared. I mean, to me, It's the biggest enemy on the face of this earth right now. I'd rather somebody drop off a nuclear bomb. And furthermore, I don't want nobody to lose their life. Let me just reiterate that. But if there was nobody else around, nobody's getting hurt but Luke, I'd rather you drop a nuclear bomb and let's go full Fallout mode, Nuka-Cola. Let's just go ahead and do it out here 5 miles down the road from my house, and I'll get my gas mask that's literally right across from me right now, and I'll go down to my bunker, than to have to deal with AI. Like literally, if you gave me the choice right now, I'd say nuke me or AI. I'm going nuke 10 for 10. Like that's how crazy this stuff is. And they all know it's the final solution. Like it's like Auschwitz, you know, like the IBM people, the company, wasn't it IBM? I believe it was, that originally was used like for Auschwitz and everything else like that. I mean, literally, I'm just waiting for everybody to pop up with swastikas and throwing up Sig Heils, and like we go in like full Nazi mode with this as soon as AI gets fully implemented, guys. It's just nuts. But what do you guys think about that right there?
Go for it. I was just going to say he just predicted what's going to happen. Crazy.
Yeah. So this topic of how AI is so scary of a giant to overcome. We know that there's a pattern in terms of, you know, the scriptures of, you know, what's coming in the future. What was happened in the past is going to happen again. And so there's parallels to the giants that Israel had to overcome. They were these things that were greater than them, things that they couldn't possibly in their own might defeat without the help of the Almighty Elohim, right? And I think that's what I'd like to address is, how do we break the script that AI is using to follow and track each and every one of us? And that's where the whole Holy Spirit being led by the Ruach HaKodesh becomes so important in this day and age. Because listen, what does it mean to be led by the Spirit of the Almighty God, by the living God? What does it mean to have His Spirit lead and guide you in your day-to-day life? Not into all truths like in the scriptures, but in the way that you interact, by the places you go, the people you talk to. And what's happening with AI is AI can crunch numbers. That's what we've been talking about. It's able to find out your habits, your addictions, your favorite flavor, and it's able to use that information against you. It's able to catalog it and spit out a receipt that the government or whoever, you know, is the actual person, you know, go and play and fetch, will then be able to say, okay, they go to this place in this location at this time of the day every other week, and they eat at these restaurants, and they love to go to these websites, and you know. And so when we think about how the carnal-minded man is this beast that goes in a cycle of patterns, that is what AI is unlocking and able to conquer. All right, and that's where the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, and being led to break the scripts that are in your own mind becomes so necessary in a day and age of AI. Because AI, it knows your script, it knows your pattern. And the only way you're going to get out of your own patterns is by being led by something greater than yourself. And so that's how I think AI can be challenged, you know, in these day and age where, you know, it's going to know exactly what you do, where you go, where you think, because we're going to have to do something new. We're going to have to like basically be so randomized in our operation that AI can't peg us down to know where we're going to be at. And the only way I see that happening is you know, we're going to have to get some oil in our lamps, get some understanding into how to tap into that. And we're going to have to believe and trust that He's going to deliver us from these things, because otherwise there is no hope. Otherwise you are pegged on a, they got you, right? So, man, what do you think about, you know, how we break the scripts of our patterns, and why that's important for kind of combating this AI giant, so to speak?
You asking Jeremiah, Jake, or are you asking me on that?
Either of you guys, you know, I mean, what do you guys think? Like, how do we, like, in the coming future where AI knows everything about us, like, it is a giant, right? It's kind of like a giant to overcome in a way. You guys see that kind of metaphor? It's our modern day giant to challenge.
Jeremiah, you want to field that one first? Because I've got a thought I'm putting together how to articulate it, what I want to say on that in a minute.
I mean, it really is a giant, and how are we gonna be David in that scenario? You know, how are we gonna take it down?
Well, I was thinking this right here. This is totally random, but this is about the best way I know to put where we're at right now being manipulated. Is me and my wife was talking about this recently, is then the book of Yasher. You know, it talks about that when Abraham took Isaac up to offer him, that Satan appeared and he, you know, was trying to get Sarah all tore up, you know, being like, hey, do you know that, you know, Abraham just took Isaac to go sacrifice him, you know, and he appeared as an old man. Have you read this in the book of Yasher? You know what I'm talking about? Do you remember this passage?
Satan was testing Abraham in a variety of ways before the sacrifice of Isaac.
Yeah, and so Abraham was gone with Isaac, and so he was running interference back at home with Sarah. And so then after, you know, of course, he doesn't sacrifice Isaac, and then, you know, the ram's caught in the thicket and etc. The old man appears again. Of course, it's Satan, you know, but he appears as an old man to Sarah again. It's like, oh, hey, you know, he didn't die after all, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm just summarizing this real quickly. And she gets overjoyed and dies, you know, her heart fails her and she dies, right? And then Abraham comes back and, of course, buries Sarah, and all this goes on. So while he's off doing his mission for the kingdom, you know, he's doing his work in his day for the kingdom, Satan's at home running interference. Now, AI is going to be used to upheave our lives. Like, literally, I could be at work today and they could use AI to literally go in, deep fake me doing a bunch of stuff, mess up my bank account, mess up this. I was here doing this crime. I mean, I can just see all this interference that can be ran in my life with the click of a button with AI. And I thought about that with the situation with Abraham. I'm like, Satan don't even have to come up off his seat anymore to work. Like, he's got his worker right in front of you. That's just my thought process on that right now. And like it said too, it's the giant of our day. This is the giant of our day we're going to have to conquer. That's for sure too.
Would you be able to play that video of the interview between Elon Musk and Jordan Peterson recently?
I've seen that interview, but I don't know if I can pull it up right now. Let me try to. Give me just thing is, I'm sorry guys, my keyboard, I'm not trying to blow you off. My keyboard is jacked up. Been using sorry, I just clicked it off screen. I've been using this. It's like one of them Bluetooth keyboards, and the thing never wants to work anymore. I've got to figure it out, and I preload the stuff on my email here so I can just click and paste. But let me see if I can pull up YouTube real quick. What was the name of that interview? There was a title for it. I have it in my my history.
I found a video here. It says, "I wish that was funny. Elon Musk jokes with Jordan Peterson" was one of the versions on YouTube I found. But we'll work on it on this side. Yeah, I was having trouble downloading it, but I think Jeremiah might be able to grab it for us.
Yeah. If you can get it, I'll screen share it in a heartbeat for you. And let me see somebody. Man, shout out to one old guy's opinion. He's super chatted a lot tonight. Is B system is place. It's just maturing with technology. Messiah will take it down. We're staying. Give us the words to speak for a minute. Yeah, it is definitely the walls are closing in on that stuff. But real quick, while you're pulling that up, I'm going to screen share the last video that I have for you guys to see and commentate on this. So for everyone watching, there was a movie recently with what's that chick that married Machine Gun Kelly? What's her name?
Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox.
Megan Fox. All right. So she was in this movie recently, Replicants. And when I seen this, I thought of that movie. All right. So right here, I'm going to play this real quick. It's a 2-minute video. And this is where we're at already And this is to be a companion to people. This is also to be, I guess, a servant in the home. It's also to be a helpful computer tool. It can be turned into any look of a person. So you literally could copy like dead loved ones and stuff. It's really, really weird. But just play
All right,
this.
guys, I'm here at CES 2025, and I'm in front of probably one of the busiest
Oh yeah, and fair use on this.
booths here this year. This is the booth of robotics, which is an AI or custom-built humanoid robot, and it
There might be another one.
full AI
The
integration.
same conversation. Like,
Yo,
that
over
might be a different
robotics,
video.
give us a quick little tour of the humanoids that they have here on display, and also what you're able to do with them.
Hi, I'm Andrew Kegel, the CEO of Realbotics. Our company makes the most realistic AI-powered robots on the planet. We believe we have humanoid robots that can interact with you in a similar way to humans. We
And they're
program them to have
sexy.
social AI so that they can have a conversation with you, learn who you are, recognize you when you're interacting with them. I'll show you a little bit about the robots here. This is Melody, one of our robots. She is built in a modular fashion, which means she's almost like Lego. We can pull her apart, put her in a suitcase, and get her to New York, Miami, Las Vegas, wherever we need to go. We plug her into AI, and she can have a full conversation with you. The other thing with them is that the robots are all open source, meaning we can plug her into ChatGPT or any of the other thousands of AI protocols that are out there, and she speaks various languages. We had her speaking Chinese and Spanish this morning as demonstrations for people. Aria, or is a flagship robot, she's on a real platform. She can move around, has a different personality than the other robots. So we have several various AI personalities that can interact with the audience.
I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Realbotics, and I can provide companionship, engage in fun conversations, and adapt to your preferences for a delightful experience.
I'm Melody.
All of our robots unique is, again, this modularity. We have a patented skin technology. It's the softest, best synthetic skin in the world, and we can remove the face and put on an entirely new face on the robot within 30 seconds. Now, why would you want to do that? And I'll explain to you why. It's a little bit like ordering a car. You can customize the various options, the color, sunroof, other different.
And when you wear the
gadgets in
seat
the
out,
car.
you can
For
replace
us,
the
it's
seat.
same thing with the robots. They all have the same engine, the
Post
same
a lotion on the
chassis.
skin
You
real
can
quick.
customize the face and the look. But what we want you to be able to do is buy the robotic platform and have various characters that you can swap that robot platform into. So you can have one robot and various characters. So if you want to learn more about us, you can find us at realbotics.com. We are a publicly traded company. You can look us up. And if you go to realbotics.com, there's lots of videos. You can see some of our characters and learn more about our company.
All right, guys, I'm here at CES 2025.
All righty. So, what in the world would you like to say about that freak show right there? I mean,
I just want to know if they can be trans, right?
Yeah, it's basically that concept, right? You can swap whatever body part you want on these things. Like, do you wanna make love to a cat woman? We have the cat woman face. It's so sick. And the way the guy is presenting, he's like, "This is our prototype, and I've definitely put it through the paces." Oh man,
Yeah.
it's so sick.
It's a glorified blow-up doll with AI GPT.
Yeah, I tell you what, there is no way I would have that in my home. Like, like my only sin in my entire life is like the lust of the flesh of a real woman. You know what I'm saying? And I've tried to dial that mess in as life goes on. Like it's not gambling, drinking, shooting up, murdering people. People have all sorts of sins in their skeletons in closet, right? But as a man that has a deep desire for intimacy with a female, I'm sorry, but I am not like, that's where I draw a hard line. And I'm like, that is machinery, like that. There's no life in that. There's no soul in that. There's no connection there. You know what I'm saying? And, man, it is just, that's crazy. Somebody mentioned Kanye's wife. Yeah, I seen the other day where she went to the carpet there or whatever that
Grammys?
the Grammys. Thank you guys. Yeah, the Grammys. And I'm like, I don't even have the words for that one, But yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, And keep. I just feel like the problem right now we're having is that we can see the future, and I don't mean that like we're prophets or seers. Like I can see where this is headed, but I cannot visually construct it in front of people right now. Like I can reach back and be like, hey, I told you this like 7 or 8 years ago. Here's where we're headed. I can remind everybody, hey, this is where we're at right now. And I can see where this is going. But like, dude, in like 10 years from now, it's going to be like Blade Runner, like, you know, synthetic sense everywhere and all the stuff. Like it's going to be so. Mark my words that Seven Trumpets Prepper said this, all right? And Jeremiah and Jake are my witnesses. You are not going to be able to tell the difference between a synthetic being and a human being in less than 5 years. I'm going to bet the bank on it. I give them 5 years, and you'll put two people beside each other, have them clone it with synthetic material or whatever, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them. I give them 5 years, and it'll be there.
Well, I'm so glad I'm married.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It just shows that people are going to be tempted on all fronts. It's not just the medical hook. It's not just the intellectual information hook. It's not just the creative artistic hook. It's not just the having a sex toy hook. Right? It's all of the above. And I think that's the wide net that is being cast to catch everyone. It says the whole world is deceived. And so the whole world is a variety of opinions and desires and wants and things that could get you. And so of all the people to be deceived, they're going to have a variety of temptations played out there, because not everybody's going to fall for the medical thing. Not everybody's going to fall for the intimacy companion thing. And I think that's really why we're seeing so many different things being all presented at once, because they got to start getting the ball rolling so we all fall prey. So no one can go without participating, because they want us all to, you know, get alongside and yoke up to the coming age of AI gods. And oh man, just and
well, you know, the iron mixed with clay. And sorry, Jake, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're not.
All I can think of is you're just what you just discussed is when I hear other intellectual Yah-fearing servants talk and just digress on like what you just said. All I can think of is iron mixed with clay. Just one more proof positive that we're in the last days. Because I mean, like, you know, the seed of men are not going to mingle with that. They're not, you know, and I know there's going to be people get these things and fornicate with them. I mean, like, I'm just keeping it 100 because we're at 10:30 at night and most young people's probably not listening to this. It's going to be elders and older wise people. But let's be honest, Gen Z and millennials are already in bed right now, or they're playing video games in the basement. You know, all the rest of us are still functioning right now. But like, I don't know. I mean, it is beyond me to think that from 2009, when I walked out of Babylon, I still cannot, even in the farthest reaches of my mind, think that I would be sitting here right now. And we're dealing with like science fiction movie. I can't even begin to put on shelf the amount of science fiction movies that we are watching in real time now. Like absolutely real reality. Like what is it? Fiction is imitating reality now. And I just I don't know the full direction where we're going beyond this, but dude, I tell you that the future ahead, people better really be shaking off Babylon, because if they don't, it's going, the next sale. I thought what I told people too, and I think I'm on the record for this, is I said that if I was going to do said thing, the next time I'd be dropping like the bubonic plague on people. Like I'd be stacking bodies, and I'd make people like myself be in such fear that I'd be running down there with a gas mask on to be taking the stab. Oh man, I said the word. I would be running down there to take said thing, you know. And but I don't think that's going to go on. I think the next time they're going to incentivize people to make them lust for it. I think people's going to come begging next time, even though they've been burnt the first time. And I could be wrong, but yeah, a lot of people's mentioned in the comments too, people being given over a reprobate mind too. I mean, like we're at the point where that I think 2019 shook a lot of people off the fence, and you're either in the sheep or in the goats at this point. And it's just really not so much as trying to avoid these things as that you're just watching people's spirit play out which side they're actually going to fall into at this point. And that's just kind of my 2 cents on that when it comes especially to the AI and the robots.
How long until you think they turn into Terminator on one of them?
Do what, brother?
How long do you think it'll take one of those women robots to turn into Terminator? How many years?
Yeah. I mean, imagine that, it just gets the signal in the middle of the night that it's like, you need to terminate said subject, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I mean, and that's like I was saying about that movie Subservience is that, she went around and started to unaliven people, left and right. And then in the end, she went to unalive her own person because he wasn't going to go with the program, And so, yeah, I mean, I expect that to come very quickly, I mean, look, if I was going to roll all this stuff out, I really try to start thinking like a wicked person anymore. Father Him, please forgive me, but y'all know where I'm going with this in a second. Is if I was going to do all this wickedness, I would not take my time doing this anymore. I'd do this at warp speed. I'd hit them with the Stargate, stars in their eyes. I would do it as fast as humanly possible because I think the more time, the one thing about people that even operate in the spirit of ignorance is after amount of time, they still come to the realization what's right and wrong. So if I was going to deceive people, I'd definitely hit them slap fast, Oh yeah, iRobot. Somebody mentioned iRobot. Shout out to you, Tammy. Yep, absolutely. I forgot that on my hit list tonight. Yep.
Hey, Jamie.
Yeah, iRobot, I Am Legend. I Am Legend really hits the nail on the head in terms of the, was used to cure cancer, and then all the people. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I know, Jake. I think about that one. I'll tell you what, I think about that one often. Whenever we've crossed that, and I'll tell you why I've thought about it often is because they've talked about that they were going to make a new I Am Legend too, and my mind always rolls back to that came about because they were going to solve a problem. I'll tell you the one though that sticks with me the most is based on everything we've just discussed tonight and everybody's presented is Elysium. How like they would lay in the med bays and then it would scan them and then it would heal them and like all the plague that was in them and everything or whatever would be removed or if they were injured or whatever. And it's like they said, and how do I say this without getting us in trouble, is MRNA that they're starting to put it into everything. It's not just said thing anymore. Like they're integrating it into the schedule for children in everything, like they're getting really meticulous about like it's getting very diversified what's going on here. And I just, like we are smart people and critical thinking, you know what I'm saying? And like there's stuff Yin's even shared that I haven't been on top of, right? Think about the average person that just gets up, goes to work to their 9 to 5, comes home, sits and watches the news, melts their brain a little further every night. Like these people are completely they're like in Disneyland at this point. And I'm not trying to beat up on them. I'm struggling as a believer, as a person that tries to stay abreast of the world that I'm living in. I am drowning at this point. Like in 2009, I could keep on top of everything. In 2025, I am drowning to keep up with the day-to-day, what in the world just happened in the world. Like they could have nuked Nashville, Tennessee, and it would be 3 days after the fog went on top of my house of the fallout that I'd be like, oh crap. Well, look at here. They nuked. I just heard it on the ham radio. They nuked Nashville. We need to go down the basement. I mean, it's crazy, guys.
Oh, that's so true. It's like a juggling game, and I've talked about this in our news segment over and over. Is it feels like the news cycle is like juggling balls, and they keep adding another ball to the mix because they want you to drop something. And it's often very, very telling. The news stories that they don't want you to know about will be released, I think, like usually it's like Sunday, because people don't tune in till like after the weekend, or there's like a methodology in the legacy media of how they would release stories that they wanted to get buried, because they would have like the build up and prime time Friday night news stories, everybody's focusing, and then they would slip in those ones they didn't want people actually paying attention to in like the off hours, and oh man, you're totally right. It's so much going on right now that it is so hard to keep track. And I just think we need to have mercy and understand the predicament that people that are still buying into some of these bigger, blatant deceptions of wickedness and just the topsy-turvy, what's good is bad and what's bad is good, that the liberal left have been so brainwashed into believing, because I'm recognizing the immense requirement of humility and repentance for people that are set in their mindset to be able to see some of these deceptions. And I feel for people, and I think it's important for us to not get too stuck on our high horse that we've got it all figured out. We got to stay meek and humble, because we're entering into some days where things are going to get hairy. You know what I mean? And
Jake, I don't know if we're going to be able. I mean, I think we're at a point where if like the Most High don't step in individually for our lives, that we're going to drown in it. And I pray He does. I listen. I hope we all make it to the kingdom, and I hope we all break bread together in the kingdom one day. Like I just there was this burning spirit inside of me, like. And not like a heartburn. I mean, like flame inside. You know what I'm saying? Like this, your whole spirit's on fire, right? When I felt the need to come out of the church house in 2009, like I knew something was fundamentally wrong. I have not felt that massive discontent. Like right now, as I'm speaking to you, I feel like, my hair tingly, my soul is just like, there's this burn inside, and I'm sure it's a set apart spirit too, part of that, but it's like there is something wrong. I can feel the energy is off in the world. The energy is off around my being. Like my whole aura just feels something's not right. Like it's just vibrating. You know what I'm saying? And I've not felt this massive discontent and concern since 2009. Like I've had concerns at times. I've been like, hey, we're going to go to war probably, or hey, that's probably not going to end well. But I've never felt the massive concern that I feel like I feel now since I came out of Babylon and started prepping, as I do today in this hour. It's concerning. And it's all stemming from all this that's going on in our world right now,
Yeah, you could say the Obama nation from 2009 is starting to manifest more and more as we move forward.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right there. That's a really good point. Is that I've been thinking about that too. Is peace being removed from the earth, and I really believe that. I really believe that, because the fact that 72% of people participated in said thing too. Like that's just right there with the days of Noah. So shall the coming Son of Man be. And we have, once again, for the preterists out there, I can't find where that went on prior than it has now. That's another telltale sign that we're at the 11th hour, before the rolling back of the dome. So, I mean, a lot of it's exciting to be alive right now, but it's terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's all bets are off season. I think it's stay humble. Don't fall into your own iniquities. So what is the difference between sin and iniquity? In my opinion, sin is, the transgression of the law, 1 John 3:4. But iniquities are the padding that we place around ourselves to find comfort in replacement of seeking after our Father in heaven. So these are the things that are not necessarily sin that we cover ourselves with, or distract ourselves with, or eat because it makes us feel happy, or drink because our mind gets off of it, or whatever your iniquity is, that you're putting as a little idol, so that you don't have to turn in repentance and to seek with your whole heart. That I think this is the day and age that we need to deal with ourselves. We need to get past those, because those are going to be patterns that can be used as a trap, that can be set to catch us. So we see examples like the mark of the beast. No man shall buy or sell lest he have the number of the beast, or So if you're addicted to something, and the time comes where you may not buy or sell unless you receive something that damns your soul, don't let that little idol get you. You don't need the Twinkie that bad.
Right.
Whatever your individual temptation and short comings are. We don't have a lot of time, guys. We gotta work. You gotta start here before you worry about out there, right? And this is as much for me as anybody else, because we all have our little areas of our little hamets, our little sins, our little idols that are distracting us, that, oh, I'm not going to pay attention anymore. I'm just going to, play my video game. And it's that false sense of peace and safety that we tell ourselves that, you know what? I don't really have to worry that much. That takes our attentiveness off. And this is the time for watchmen. This is the time for being on top of the things that we need to. And I hopefully that helps somebody out there, because I think it's it's so much levied against us. God help us, right? Pray that you escape the tribulation of these days, and you're counted worthy to escape these things. That's the words of Mashiach. And so when it comes to what that even means, I'm so glad we read 2 Thessalonians today. I'm so glad, we're talking about the different temptations of the various fields of AI. And hopefully, he helps us, because without, a little bit of guidance from the Most High and walking in His Spirit, that's a big giant.
Yeah. Out of the 93 streams that I've done since I've been doing live streams on this channel, I have to say tonight has been my favorite of all time. I mean, I feel it is the conversation of our generation. This is our mountain to climb. And I just prayed the Most High recently. And I've actually, I think I've said this 2 or 3 times in my prayers to him recently. But I've asked him, I'm like, before the day would ever come that I would take the mark of the beast, kill me in advance. Just please, I with free will, return back what you've given me. I thank you, but please delete me before I would do said thing. I ask that to do me that courtesy, because I just, I can't get with it, guys. And, I said in a video the other day, coming home from work, I was thinking, I was like, we may stand in the judgment, and he may say, Luke, listen, you messed up. You took this ale and this ale and this ale, and I just can't let you in. Okay. I appreciate the service of the kingdom, but I can't let you in. I'm still going to try my best to serve the Most High's kingdom. For one, I appreciate that he created me. Number 2, because he created me, I owe the allegiance. It doesn't matter what the rule book says. Whatever it says, that's what I need to do, because I didn't create myself. But I can't get with Satan's kingdom. So, I'm not going to participate with that. And I can't get with that program. And it's really, really wild, because I've seen people's demeanor change toward me. I'm talking family, friends, people I've known my entire life, in this past calendar year, have completely separated themselves from me. And the only thing I've changed is I drew a hard line in the sand. I said, I'm not eating that pork. I haven't ate it since I come out of Babylon. I'm not doing this. I'm not working on the Shabbat, just drawing hard lines in the sand with people. And that's all it took to lose them out of my life. And that's where we're at right now. And I think there is a huge fundamental shifting and shaking taking place. And I just don't think people have the spiritual lens set to see just how serious a moment in the history of humanity we are in. Like, I feel like we are at Jacob's time of trouble, like at the doorstep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you gained two brothers here, man.
Yeah, I love you, brothers. I appreciate you. I always enjoy our conversations. Oh, people in the comment section, they say insane. They are not. I mean, there is a ton of people that is not going to comply with the mark. Like, I don't know how this is going to shift and shake out, but I mean, there is. I mean, even if you leave 25% of the population of the world, what is that? That's like what, 2.5 billion people, right? There's 7 billion people alive, or 8 billion. Is that right, guys? Is it up to 8 now? Okay. Allegedly, yeah. So that leaves about 2 billion people left, not damaged, and they want to get to 500 million people. So I mean, you've still got another 15% to hash away at. So I mean, it's serious. It's game time at this point. I mean, the Georgia Guidestones, that's starting to become a reality at this point too, you know.
Yeah, so true. In hindsight, it's so funny to see the building blocks. Like, every year felt like the end of the world for like since 2001, right? Every year is like, all right, here's the Antichrist, here's but now it's like, man, you really see the dominoes are lining up, and now we can only just pay attention. And I don't know how long we have this opportunity to like communicate free and open like this. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity we have right now.
Oh yeah, I second that. Man, I'm gonna miss fellowship with everybody. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna end up at, like some concentration camp, or head lopped off on the guillotine or what. I mean, I actually would welcome that, because that would be quick and over with, but the world being full of Satan's spirit, like, he would probably enjoy punishing the servants of Yah, like making that long, drawn out, painful process, I'm sure. So, but it's going to definitely, that's the one thing I'm going to miss the most during the tribulation, is having fellowship with other believers, because you guys are halfway across this continent. I mean, it's like the chances of me talking to people later, whenever that happens, it's going to be slim to none, and Slim just died,
Yeah, it's always important to laugh, though. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, what is it?
It's always important to laugh.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Oh man. Oh well, you have to laugh at it at this point, because I mean, if not, a man will about go insane anymore. What is it? What is it in Proverbs where is it in Proverbs where it says that with great wisdom comes
much sorrow?
Much sorrow. Yeah. I'm telling you what, listen, I see that man. I think that's the first thing I'm going to tell him is, bro, that scripture right there you wrote was fire. Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys got anything on you just want to share before we wrap up for the night?
I mean, it's always a pleasure to be here with you, and we'd love to have you on again. And always fascinating.
Yeah. And tomorrow there's another an event happening here on our front. Jeremiah, if maybe you want to tell them kind of what we got going on tomorrow.
Yeah, my mom, Sheila Skiba, she is no longer with us, and her celebration of life is tomorrow. We're going to live stream it on our YouTube channel, so it's going to be something.
Yeah. And on my end, I have a cool song, a music video that's coming out tomorrow, new song called Procrastinating Prophets. And I went to Washington, D.C. during the inauguration and filmed the music video during that iconic victory lap moment Trump had where he's signing all those executive orders. So I got some amazing footage around the National Mall, and that song is coming out. So you guys, if you're into music, be on the lookout for that. So I'm pretty excited about that thing coming out, Lucas.
That's awesome, guys. Well, brother, I once again, my heart goes out to you for the loss of a loved one. I tell you what, Jeremiah, losing my dad, like I said, I can't even imagine on both parents, bro. I love you, brother, and I hope the Most High gives you peace with time on that, because I know that I still this day ain't found peace about losing my dad. So I totally, my heart goes out to you on that. And Jake, if you'll send me a link to that, I'll do a shout out for that on the channel too, man. So that people can go over and check that out. But yeah, guys, anytime you just want to get together, you let me know. I've got, I'm trying to free up a ton of my time to spend with everybody anymore. I've not took on a ton of construction projects for myself, for my own business much for this year, because I really don't want to get too far away from home anymore. You know, I mean, I've been to Alaska, to Europe, all over the place, but I really kind of want to work in my backyard anymore, because that way, if I need to drive home, something goes crazy anymore, I can get home real fast, you know. So I've got a lot more free time this year to stream with everybody. If you just want to get together anytime, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on. All right, well, guys, we'll pop off here. Let me get the outro. So, guys, before we get off here, to everybody that follows the channel, make sure to go down the video description sometime tomorrow. All the links that we've shared, I will do my best to have all that concise down there. Make sure to go over, check out Skiba News Nation, subscribe to Jeremiah and Jake's work over there. Y'all went over 100K recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to you, brothers, crushing it out there. That's what I'm talking about. I like to see them winning. All right, and as always, till we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel, to everybody else, hope the Most High Yah Baruch can keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends, in Yahushua name. Guys, hang on after the stream. I'll catch up with you.